They love calling people broke. They love it. They measure you by your bank account, by the car you drive, by the zip code you live in. But let me tell you something they'll never understand. Being broke isn't about money, it's about mindset. I've seen people with millions in the bank who still think small. I've seen people with nothing, absolutely nothing, but they walked like kings. They had the fire, the vision, the fight. You know, when I was broke, the 1990s, the real estate market was collapsing. I was in $900 million of personal debt. Billion-dollar companies were shaking. Everyone thought it was over. They were saying, Trump's done. Trump's finished. He had a good run, now he's just another failure. Wrong. I didn't declare bankruptcy. I didn't hide. I didn't run. You know what I did? I walked into boardrooms like I still owned the building. Because in my mind, I did. And guess what? That energy changed the deals. That confidence changed the tone. Suddenly the banks, the same ones laughing behind my back, started realizing he's not going anywhere. He's not broken. He's still Trump. Because I wasn't broke. Not in here. Taps chest. That's the truth most people can't handle. They think being broke is a sentence. It's not. It's a phase, and how you think during that phase decides whether you stay there or break through. I'll give you a story. There was a moment, and this is 100% true, where I walked past a homeless man on the street outside Trump Tower. And I looked at him and I turned to someone and said, you know, that guy has $900 million more than I do right now. Because I was in debt, serious debt. But was I finished? No, because I had something he didn't. Not cash, not credit. A mind that refuses to stay down. And that's what built the empire. People don't get it. They think I built this all on money. I built it on belief, on strategy, on relentless refusal to stay average. Let me say it again. Broke is a state of mind. Wealth is a state of war. You have to decide that you're not staying small. You have to decide that the world won't define you by your balance sheet. Because when you believe you're broke, you act broke. You shrink. You settle. But when you walk with empire energy, even when you're down, the world has no choice but to take you seriously. And that's what I did. I turned a mindset into a movement, a name into an asset, a dollar into a skyscraper. You want to know how? Keep watching. They laughed when I bought the land for Trump Tower. They said it was the wrong location, the wrong timing, the wrong everything. Midtown Manhattan, Fifth Avenue people thought I was out of my mind. It's too expensive, they said. You're too young. The building that stood there before was an old department store, outdated, worn out, forgotten. Everyone thought it should be torn down and left empty. But I didn't see what it was, I saw what it could be. A gold-plated mirror glass skyscraper that would dominate the skyline and change the game forever. I fought tooth and nail to get that zoning approval. I battled the city. I negotiated with tenants. I stared down the unions. And all the while they laughed. The press said it would be a disaster. The experts said no one would lease it. They said Trump's going to lose everything. But I ignored the noise. I built. I watched it rise floor by floor while the critics wrote columns. And when it was done, they didn't laugh anymore. Trump Tower became an icon, a symbol of power, elegance, success. Presidents, billionaires, global royalty, they walked through those doors. And I owned every square inch. Because while they were mocking, I was moving. That's the story they don't tell. The laughter doesn't stop the building. It never does. In fact, it fuels it. When they mocked Trump Ice, a bottled water brand, I smiled. I knew it wasn't about water, it was about presence. Branding, shelf space. It was about putting the name in places no one expected. When they mocked Trump University, I didn't flinch. Because I knew education wasn't about professors in tweed jackets, it was about mindset. Teaching people how to win, not how to write essays. The media never cared about helping people. I did. They scoffed when I launched my golf courses. Trump's just playing games, they said? Really? Then why do the best players in the world want to play on my courses? Why are Trump resorts among the finest on the planet? Because I don't play small. I build big. Every time they laughed, I got louder. Every time they doubted, I doubled down. That's how I operate. I don't need approval. I don't need applause, I need impact, and that comes from action. So let them laugh, let them roll their eyes. I promise you this, they'll be watching from below while you're building above. They always do. Most people look at buildings and see glass, steel, and concrete. I look at them and see belief, vision, conviction that doesn't bend. That's what I built with. That's what I still build with. You want to know the truth? My biggest asset was never cash. It was never investors, never connections. It was the way I thought, my mindset. That's what made everything possible, even when the numbers said otherwise. When I was deep in debt, when the papers were printing my obituary in business, I still walked into every room like I was winning. Because in my head I never let the losses get into my identity. I never let setbacks define me. People who do that, they stay stuck forever. I didn't walk like a man carrying $900 million in personal debt. I walked like a man who still owned the city. And that energy, it changed things. It made people rethink. Because most people are just looking for a sign of strength. They want someone to follow, someone to believe in. And when you believe in yourself so completely, they don't even question it. They just get out of the way. That's what mindset does. It bends reality in your favor. And no, it's not arrogance, it's certainty. Arrogance is empty, but certainty is the fuel of empire. When you know exactly who you are, you become untouchable. And the truth is, most people never get there. They think too small. They flinch when it gets loud. They shrink when it gets hard. I never did. I never gave the world the satisfaction of seeing me back down. And that annoyed them. They couldn't figure it out. How is he still going? How is he still building? How is he still in the headlines, still on the stage, still closing deals? Because I trained my mind like a weapon. Every insult, training, every hit, resistance, every setback. You want to win like a champion? You better think like one every day. No days off, no mental softness, no victim thinking. Just focus, power, and forward motion. And listen, I've seen people smarter than me lose everything. I've seen people with more money collapse under pressure. You know why? Because their foundation wasn't real. They built everything on trends, on hype, on other people's approval. And the moment the wind shifted, gone. Blown over. Meanwhile, I'm still standing, still building. Because my mindset wasn't built for comfort. It was built for combat. You think it's a coincidence that I could take hit after hit, scandals, lawsuits, bad press, business failures, and still rise? It's not luck. It's not magic. It's the mental discipline of a builder. When I lost money, I didn't lose my name. When I lost deals, I didn't lose my momentum. And when I lost trust in others, I doubled down on myself. You have to get to that place that you stop asking, why me? And start saying, try me. That's when the shift happens. That's when you go from being someone the world kicks around to someone they fear. I never walked into a room to be liked. I walked in to own it. I didn't speak to impress. I spoke to lead. That's what builders do. We're not looking for a pat on the back. We're laying bricks while they're tweeting. That's why I win. That's why I'll always win. Because while they're waiting for motivation, I'm making moves. While they're crying on social media, I'm making deals. While they're hoping for fairness, I'm writing the rules. That's the mindset of a builder. And once you lock that in, there's no going back. You become unstoppable. Most people don't know the difference between hard work and smart war. They hustle, yes, but they hustle blind. I never played that way. I was always thinking 10 moves ahead. Even in chaos, I was calm because I was calculating. See, being strategic isn't about being clever. It's about turning every single situation into an advantage. That's what I did again and again. Take the media. They hated me, right? Still do. But while they were trying to destroy me, I was becoming bigger because I understood one thing they didn't. Tension is power. While they screamed, I expanded. They gave me free marketing every single day. They couldn't stop talking about me, and I used that to make the Trump brand global. I didn't fight them. I fed them. I gave them quotes, headlines, moments, because I knew that as long as they kept me on the front page, I stayed relevant. And relevance is real estate. You can rent space in people's heads if you know how to keep their eyes on you. Most people hide when they're under fire. I stepped right into the spotlight. Bold, loud, unfiltered. Why? Because I wasn't afraid of being misunderstood. I was building an image, one so clear, so strong, that love me or hate me, you knew exactly who I was. And once you do that, you become unforgettable. That's strategy. That's dominance. That's how you build a name that never dies. Let's talk branding. Trump isn't just a name, it's an asset. It's a signature. It's value. You see it on a building, a product, a hat, and it means something. That wasn't luck. That was design. I put my name everywhere because I knew that the name would outlive the noise. Trump steaks? Laughed at. But the point wasn't stakes. It was extension. It was reach. It was testing how far the name could stretch. Trump water, Trump ice, Trump University, same story. People mocked it, but the name spread. It entered households, conversations, culture. That's priceless. And behind every one of those moves was strategy. Even the failures weren't failures. They were expansion tests, brand pressure tests. You think Coca-Cola hits with every product? Of course not. But they're everywhere. That's the game. Get attention, multiply visibility, cement the brand. Then use that brand to open new doors. Licensing. I turned it into an empire machine. I didn't build every hotel. I licensed the name, let other people build while I collected the rewards. That's not just smart, that's leverage. That's chess. While everyone else was chasing small wins, I was positioning the name globally. And it worked. You can find Trump on skylines from New York to Istanbul to Manila. That's what a name should do. Travel, speak, dominate. The power of strategy isn't just in action, it's in recognition. You walk past a building and say, Trump. That's not ego, that's execution. Now let's talk about one of the smartest plays of my life, The Apprentice. They thought I was crazy to go on TV. You're a real estate guy, what are you doing with reality television? I'll tell you what I was doing, branding at scale. Millions of people tuned in every week to watch me do what I already did in real life: lead, decide, build. And what happened? They saw me as the ultimate boss, the deal maker, the guy who walks in, reads the room, makes the call. And I became a household name. But more than that, I became cultural currency. Everyone knew your fire. It wasn't just a line, it was a statement, a symbol of authority. And it made the Trump image even bigger. While most CEOs hid behind boring press releases and corporate suits, I became a figure, a brand, a presence. And I used that presence to dominate. Book deals, speaking engagements, licensing, everything accelerated. That show wasn't entertainment, it was business. And every episode was a commercial for the Trump mentality. You can't buy that kind of exposure. And once people bought into the image, they bought into the empire. That's what strategy looks like when it's done right: organic growth driven by media mastery. Let's go even deeper: real estate itself. The way I built wasn't just about buildings. It was about control. I didn't just want to own square footage. I wanted the air rights, the sight lines, the zoning influence. When I built Trump Tower, I didn't just build up. I built legally, politically, psychologically. I bought neighboring air rights so no one could block my view. I created the most powerful private atrium in the city. Every inch was calculated. People think real estate is about location. It's not. It's about leverage, control, vision. You can buy a great spot and still fail if you don't know how to dominate it. I knew how. I knew that if I made the building iconic, the world would come to me. And they did. Foreign buyers, billionaires, diplomats, A-list celebrities. They didn't come just for the building, they came for the name, the status, the power. That's what I sold. Not space, not walls, identity. And I packaged it better than anyone else. That's why they hate it. That's why they can't copy it. Because strategy isn't just about being smart. It's about being fearless. You have to move when others freeze. Speak when others whisper. Lead when others follow. And if you do it right, you don't just make money. You make history. Let's talk about you now. Yes, you. Because I know some of you are sitting there broke. Not just in the bank, but in the brain. You're broke in your habits, broke in your thoughts, broke in your energy. You wake up tired, you scroll your phone like a zombie, and then you complain that life isn't fair. Let me give you a news flash. The world isn't supposed to be fair. It's supposed to be conquered. And if you don't have the guts to go out and take what's yours, then don't cry when you stay average. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's handing you the blueprint. You either build it or you stay broke. That's the choice. Every single day you wake up, you're either building your empire or digging your grave. There is no middle. There is no neutral. And if you think waiting, wishing, and whining is a strategy, then congratulations, you've just joined the army of nobodies. I built what I built because I refused to think like a loser. I refused to believe the world owed me anything. I created my own terms, my own timing, my own empire, and you can too. But not until you stop acting like life's supposed to feel good. It's not. It's supposed to challenge you. That's what makes it worth it. And if you're broke right now, good. Now you've got reason to wake up angry, focused, and ready to destroy mediocrity. Let me ask you something real. When's the last time you went a whole week without complaining, without blaming, without distracting yourself? You can't even focus on one goal for 7 days, and you want a millionaire lifestyle? Get serious. Most people don't need more opportunities. They need more backbone. You say you want to win, but you won't even give up your comfort. Your excuses are stronger than your discipline. You scroll more than you study. You react more than you plan. You care what people think more than you care about your legacy. That's not broke, that's weak. And you better fix it. Because the clock doesn't stop. Every second you waste is someone else getting stronger, getting ahead, buying the land you should have owned. While you're still stuck in your head, they're out there closing deals. Let me tell you something personal. When I was at my lowest, I didn't sit in the dark crying. I got louder, I moved faster. I made deals with the same banks that wanted to bury me. You know how? Because I didn't give them the version of me they wanted. I gave them the one they feared. You've got to be dangerous, not violent, not reckless. Dangerous as in focused, disciplined, relentless. A storm in a suit. That's what wins. That's what rises. I don't care if you have nothing. You can still walk with your head up. You can still move with certainty. That's the foundation. Power doesn't start in the bank. It starts in the mirror. If you see a king, eventually the world will too. But if you look in that mirror and see fear, excuses, a maybe man, that's what the world's going to treat you like. You've got one name, one life, one shot. What are you doing with it? Waiting for permission? Waiting for motivation? Hoping someone else will come along and make you feel ready? That's not how you win. That's how you lose quietly. And I didn't build this to lose quietly. I built it to echo for generations. That's the energy you need. Empire energy. And don't you dare tell me you're too tired. I ran businesses, built towers, filmed TV shows, ran for office, got attacked from all sides, and I still showed up. Because the mission was bigger than the mood. If you only work when you feel good, you'll never be great. You want greatness? You better marry the grind. You better worship the process. You better fall in love with boring, painful, lonely, obsessed consistency. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to stop explaining yourself. Stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for signs. If you want it, go take it. No one's stopping you but you. You're going to stop at broke even if you are. Because broke is temporary. But broke mindset, that's what kills dreams. If you want money, power, legacy, start by fixing how you think. Build your confidence. Sharpen your speech. Clean your room. Clean your phone. Cut the losers out. Start walking like a man with something to prove. Wake up at 5 a.m. if you have to. Read, build, work. Speak like you're already the version of yourself you're trying to become. That's how I did it. That's how winners do it. You don't get rich by accident. You get rich because you act rich before the world catches up. And when it does, you don't apologize. You don't slow down, you double it. You go harder. Because the empire is never finished. It's just getting started. And it all begins the day you say, I may be broke, but I don't think like it anymore. That's the shift. That's the moment. That's when the world starts to take you seriously. When you take yourself seriously. So let them laugh, let them doubt, let them say you're broke, finished, done. Smile. Because they said the same about me and I built an empire they still can't stop talking about. You've got the blueprint now. You've got the truth. It's not about money. It's about mindset. And if you fix that, the money comes, the power comes, the legacy writes itself. So go build, go rise. And remember, you're never truly broke unless you believe you are.